It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
As I was walking down the street one day, a man came up to me and asked me what the time was that was on my watch. Yeah, and I said, does anybody really know what time it is? Does anybody really care?
And a good morning to all on this Wednesday, November the 16th. Tough night for Memphis Hoops. We're Hoop City, right? Last night.
Not last night.
Loser City, huh? Tigers and Grizzlies both on the road, both get L's. That was tough. Spring football's coming, and maybe some money from the state to basically renovate stadiums. That would be okay if that is part of the motivation. And the college football poll, number 3, is out for the playoffs. We'll get into that. We've got Brett Norsworthy with us at 10:45, Jarvis Greer at Stats at 10:25, Jarvo at 10:45. So we will be busy today. The Tigers gave up 90 points last night in St. Louis. By the way, the Chaffetz Center, what a cool little ballpark. It seats 10-6. It's, believe it or not, I guess it's like 10 or 13 years old, something like that. It's the first time Memphis ever played in there. And, you know, the Tigers were in the same conference with the Billikens in 4 different leagues. Valley, Metro, Great Midwest, CUSA. And we played like in the Kiel. We played in that new, what is it, Enterprise Center where the Blues play? It used to be the Kiel.
Enterprise Center, that's right.
Enterprise Center used to be the Kiel. The old Checker Dome doesn't exist anymore. But those were the places that we played them in. And then they moved double-digit years ago, I think it's 13, to this new place. I'll tell you what it reminds me of. I don't know, J-Mo, if you've ever been there or if any of our fans have. In Omaha, they redid their basketball center, which is where Creighton plays. And it's bigger. It's got like a third deck. But if you take away that top deck and you look at the other 2 decks, that's what this arena looks like. It's gorgeous. Great student section, great atmosphere. And the Tigers had a hard time defending. The best player on the floor was not Kendrick Davis, was not DeAndre Williams. It was their point guard who may be, well, he led the country in assists last year. He had 9 assists and 2 turnovers last night. He was 5-1 coming into the game. And his name is Yuri Collins. He's fast and quick. He has great vision, and he understands the game. And he had a vendetta. I think Matt Dillon may have made the point last night when he said, last year he got a little intimidated. I think he marked this one on his calendar to prove a point. And, you know, there were some words. Kendrick Davis wanted to guard him. I think Kendrick Davis wanted to make a statement. And Yuri Collins beat him. There's just no way past that. Yuri Collins' numbers were, he was 4 of 10, 2 of 4, 12 of 14 from the free throw line, 22 points, 3 rebounds, and those were all defensive and in good spots. He had 9 assists, 1 steal, only 2 turnovers. He was plus 10 on the night.
The 9 assists and 2 you could see him survey the floor. You could certainly see it from where you were sitting. I mean, his eyes just on the floor as he brings it up. It's unbelievable. He's a really good guard.
Didn't help that the Tigers, in the first 5 to 6 minutes, had 6 fouls. Already in the bonus early in the second half. That did not help at all. The Tigers did have a furious comeback, and they had a chance at the end, and they had the ball in the hands of the guy they wanted to have it. They're down 3. There's under 40 seconds to go in the game. And Kendrick Davis, after a penny timeout, gets the ball and has the decision to make. He's got DeAndre Williams setting a screen for him, and he can try to take a three and tie the game, or instead we can play the foul game at the end game. He decides he's going to do that. He gets the matchup that he wants, which is on their shooter, who is very quick release, but not as quick of feet, if you understand what I'm saying. His name is Gibson Jimmerman, who's a great pure shooter.
Made some crazy shots.
You ever see how a guy, of all the great shooters, I think J.J. Riddick is the guy he gets most described as, because he's about his size and he's white. But his release is that way. I don't think he's quite as good as J.J. Riddick. He's only, I think, a sophomore. So he can play another couple of years, maybe get a little bit stronger. But he's not a great defender. So here's Davis. He's got him in the matchup he wants, and he goes to the hole. If he just goes and lays that ball up, he's going to make the shot. He tries to draw the contact to get an and one and missed it. And then there's Dandridge trying to get the rebound, and it goes off his fingers as they replayed it out of bounds. I never thought it was anything but that. And they get the ball, and Memphis has to foul, and the game is history. Here's the things that I take away from all this. I don't think Memphis will give it. It's only the second time, I believe, in the Penny era that they give up 90 points. He was talking earlier that this could be the best defensive team he's ever had, and they give up 90? Ooh. Part of that was they, as both Davis and Penny said at the end of the night, they did not follow the game plan. And Penny said it succinctly. Too many bad shots. The Tigers, who we know are an average three-point shooting team, and I'm being generous when I say that, they took 31 threes. So they took 70 shots total. Not half the shots, thank goodness, but too many shots. At least 6, 7 too many, I would say. I don't know that this team wants to take more than 20 or 25 threes per game. Now, they did score 84 points. That's not chopped liver. But they may have fallen in love with the three a little bit, because in the first half they get back in the game after they fall behind by double digits by hitting 6 threes at a 43% clip. But doesn't JMO statistics, analytics tells you, doesn't it all sort of get back to where you should be? The ship is righted, even keel, the pendulum swings to the middle. However cliche you want to get. The Tigers then return to reality, because in the second half they shoot 17 threes and make only 3. That, ladies and gentlemen, is 17%.
Especially when you look at St. Louis's strategy. I mean, going under every ball screen, going under every screen away, daring them to shoot it. You know that the St. Louis coaching staff is in the locker room at halftime sitting there like, they're not going to make that many again. They're not going to make 6 in the second half. Just trust what we're doing, and end up being right.
Yeah. I don't know if Damari Franklin is quite the answer. Would he become a starter? Penny has said he's special, and the last time he talked about a guy being special for his team, it was DeAndre Williams, and Williams lives up to that deal. He was pretty stellar last night, 21-12, and he was part of the reason down the stretch. He and Davis came to life. Davis was lost for much of this game, but when it was on the line, he started to really play. Unfortunately, he missed that last shot, trying to do maybe a little too much. But in the end, too many threes. Defense not as tough as Penny would like. That was the first thing he said. We weren't tough enough. And I will give St. Louis credit. They picked this kid up, Javon Pickett, who played at Missouri. He was part of the toughness that they did not have in FedEx Forum. So they're 3-0. That's believe it or not, the 6th year in a row that they have started off the season 3-0.
Wow.
But all 3 games have been at home. And the first 2 were Murray State and Evansville. So this is the first really significant win they had. Memphis actually had the better KenPom going in, but Memphis was the underdog.
They still do. I looked this morning.
No
Memphis
way.
still ahead of them.
Well, because that's a quad 1 road game.
That's right.
Sometimes those formulas, I mean, but here's what I would say. I would say if that game was played at FedEx Forum, Memphis would have won that game.
Certainly would have been favored.
They would have won the game. I mean, you're playing in front of your home crowd. That's a huge home court advantage. I forget I think they announced the attendance as 8,000, which was funny because I thought it was actually better than that.
Louder than that.
Yeah, I thought it seats 10,600. I thought there was at least 9,500 to 10,000 there. Didn't see that many empty seats, but they said 8,000 and change. And they really do it right. The student section's terrific. They have, in the introductions when their lights are off, they do it like concerts do, where they have the phones. They tell you put your phone light on, and they wave them. It's a pretty good show. This team has to go out on the road for like 4 or 5 games. They're playing Maryland and Auburn and Miami. I think they will come back to reality, but they're a good team. There's no doubt they are a good team. After the game was over, I think Kendrick Davis said, I'd love to see those guys in the tournament because I think on a neutral, Memphis will win that game if they play it again, especially if there is DeMarie Franklin. Now, I don't know what you're going to do about Alo because Alo is critical. Alo made a couple of defensive plays that helped turn the game around in the first half, which also led to some Jonathan Lawson threes. But Alo last night, 0 of 8, 0 of 4. When you're coming back in the game and you have a chance, I can't remember if they were 6 down at that point. Anyway, he threw up an air ball of a 3. He's so critical in so many ways to this team. He's got to play, but his offense really hurt last night. There's just no way around it.
Play within himself, certainly. Because like you said, I mean, and in another aspect of offense, though, is he fed DeAndre Williams on a lot of good buckets. I mean, he was a really good facilitator last night in that respect, played good defense. Just doesn't play within himself with that shot sometimes.
No,
he gets a little bit shot happy. But like you said, he's critical to their success. He has to be out there.
Well, he's got to play when you need defense. I don't know if when Franklin comes in that he'll be the 6th guy. I'm not sure how Penny will play that. Penny has a great deal of confidence in him, but numbers don't lie, right? I mean, that's unfortunate there. And again, I'll point this out. He was critical in the first half in the comeback, but I'm not sure in the comeback in the second half that he was as important. But, at that point, by the way, Jonathan Lawson, who came in his debut, hits a couple of threes, looked pretty good. The one thing about Jonathan that he's really got to work on, and it was pretty evident in the exhibition games and last night in the first half in particular, he's definitely not the best defender in the world. Guys get by him a little too easily. He is, even with his length, he's got to work on that a little bit. All right, so that's one Memphis basketball story. Let's go to the other. No Zion, no matter. I don't understand why the Pelicans have Memphis's number. They win 113-102. Here's something interesting. Without Desmond Bane this year, the Grizzlies are 0-3. With Desmond Bane, they are 9-3. With Desmond Bane, they average 117.5 points. Without him, they average 99.7, under 100. We're talking about pretty much a 17-point difference. With Desmond Bane, they hit 13.5 threes. Without Desmond Bane, they hit 8. Wow. That's 5.5 threes. That's 16.5 points. That's pretty amazing to me.
It's no coincidence. I mean, certainly the record. I mean, the three-point shooting itself, like you mentioned, is a big factor. But it's no. He brings so much to the floor in every aspect
in terms
of
of
the
spacing
game.
And helping other players.
Absolutely.
Which gets me helping other players, gets me to a point that was made last night on TNT by Charles Barkley, which I listened to. And he basically criticized Ja, who, by the way, I mean, he had 36 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 steals. But Charles Barkley made this comment. you as a coach, J-Mo, I want your take on it. Charles Barkley said superstars, and Ja's a superstar, so he's acknowledging that. Superstars in this league can get their shot whenever they want. But the really good players understand that, yeah, I can get this guy, but I got to get my guy, my teammate over there, I got to get him going. And they give up the ball to make that other player better. Charles Barkley's assertion is Ja's game has to elevate to that he is not there yet. And he said he doesn't make the other players better. The response, by the way, in a tweet from Ja was one word, knee pads. Whatever that means, because you can take it a couple of different ways, knee pads. I'm not saying that's right, because I do think Ja usually has close to double-digit assists. He does at times want to take the game over, but most of the superstars do that. But I'll say if you're looking for ammunition to say that argument has truth to it, look at the record last year without Ja. The team went 20-5. Now, they had better pieces at times last year. We don't know what Laravia and Roddy are going to end up being, but you're no Kyle Anderson, no DeAnthony Melton. Those are two big factors for sure. Was not a good game last night for Dylan Brooks. His shooting percentage was not tough. And, Triple J was 3 of 14.
First game.
He was 0 of 7 from 3.
First game.
He was a good rim protector.
Why is he shooting 7 threes?
I don't know. But
talking about guys
and the Grizz on threes again, they're poor. Taylor Jenkins does not think it's a problem yet. He thinks they had more problems with offense.
Well, certainly.
But they were outscored from the 3-point line 18-9. They are outscored from the 3-point line almost every night. Some of that is no Bane. I get that. He's your best 3-point shooter. But the thing about Ja, that's the first time we've really heard any criticism on the national basis about Ja. And I thought it was put in a critiquing kind of a way. It's not like he goes, he's a terrible player. If he's going to elevate his game, he's got to help his teammates more. Give me your thought on that.
I mean, I can't come on here and I think there's more than one correct way to play. There's one, like a bunch of teams can be successful playing a bunch of different ways. Ja Morant is not a, traditional pure point guard. He's more aggressive. He gets to the rim in different ways. I personally, if I'm looking to build the ideal team, would like more of a pure point guard to facilitate and, like you said, make a lot of other guys better. But that guy probably can't do all the things Ja does. So it's a tricky spot. I think certainly, though, speaking specifically to the criticism, like you said, it's more than fair. He didn't call the guy bad or anything. He just criticized one aspect of his game. I thought it was fair criticism, but I know, like you said, Ja is going to use that as ammunition, and you might have ammunition if you look at last year's record without Ja as well.
All right, real quick. Our friend Jason Munz, who's on the show every Monday, he is tweeting that Mikey Williams and J.J. Taylor have signed their official papers.
It's great. Last day to do it.
It is. I don't know about that. What's his name? David Tubik? Something like that. Not sure about him signing yet, but that's 4 or 5 in the books. Penny's son, Ashton Hardaway, he probably will sign today. I wonder if Bronny will sign today, because they can always sign in a later period.
That's right.
Just keep an eye on it, because today is the last day of signing. And finally, spring football in Memphis. And I thought Mark Giannotto wrote a very, very good column pertaining to the appearance yesterday of Cameron Sexton, who is from the area between Knoxville and Nashville. So it's not part of this area, but he is part of the state government. His presence yesterday was eye-opening. And it makes you realize that the spring league coming to Memphis has interesting angles on different fronts. And if it helps Jim Strickland make the argument that we've got pro football here too, and you're giving all this money for a new stadium. By the way, they just built that stadium for the Titans a few years ago. The Liberty Bowl or Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium was built in the 60s. If you're giving them new money to build a new stadium, then you need to give Memphis money for their NBA franchise and remodeling of that building, and also for the football stadium. So if that is part of the persuasive plan, then kudos to that. I just want to say, and I mentioned this on Stats Show, we're getting a few more details about the spring league. In 1983, when the Showboats played here, spring football really had not existed. ESPN was a relatively young venture. I think they were maybe 8 years old. They did not have a contract with the NFL. They were looking for pro sports. So they put a lot to it. And it was growing as they were doing it. And again, there hadn't been spring football. And those teams at that time, some of those cities, including Memphis, had dreams of being in the NFL and thought, well, we could push our way in. This is a good way. And they used personnel that were NFL-bound players. The Showboats had several of those players, including Reggie White, one of the best defensive linemen of all time. They brought in a big-name coach in Pepper Rogers, who was charismatic. And there was no other competition in that league, and you got your own network. It had all the ingredients to work. In this day and age, I hope it works. I really do. I don't know. A lot of this is to make sure you get the money for the construction and the redo of Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium, but how are they going to construct the stadium if you've got two USFL teams playing, your own and the Houston Gamblers? And are they going to practice on that turf field? Because if they practice and they play, each plays 10 games, 20 games, wow, that's hard on that. I hope it will work. I don't understand why they're starting as late as they are. They're letting the XFL have about a 10-week start on them. They're going to start the XFL right after the Super Bowl. This game's not going to be until April 16th. A lot of questions. It'll probably all get answered. I'm looking forward to hearing what Todd Haley has to say. I'm so happy Brady White's got a chance to play. And heck, we got another pro sports team to root on and to cover. So there's a lot of positives there. I just hope it works, because I have doubts about spring football in total, because I kind of believe each sport needs a downtime. But we shall see. And again, if it brings state money in, I'm all for it. We got to take a break. We're already late. I'm sitting in the Family Leisure Studios. Don't forget the Relax at Home sale. And you know our title sponsor. It's Homer Skelton Hyundai. That's at Craft Road and Highway 78. It's the first exit in Mississippi off Lamar. That's what Highway 78 becomes. And that is where you can buy a brand new Hyundai Santa Fe. You can get a Tucson. You can get an Elantra, a Veloster. You can get any new car, and guess what? You don't have to pay for 3 months. 90 days deferred financial payment program. That's what's going on at Homer Skelton Hyundai. Get a new car, don't pay for 3 months. Back in a minute. Stats Norsworthy on the SEC, the college football poll, and a whole bunch of other stuff. That comes your way in just a second.
Let former Memphis Tiger Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy take you home every afternoon with Sports Time on Sports 56. Weekdays from 3 to 6 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Locally owned and operated since 1885, Barton's has always been your hometown building supply store. And now Barton's is your go-to for replacement car remotes and key fobs. Introducing DuraKey. DuraKey replacements and renewal kits can be programmed in-store while you wait. Plus, save up to 60% compared to dealer prices. Visit your West Memphis Barton's at 215 West Broadway today for help with your car remote replacement and all of your home repair and remodel needs.
Looking for a bar with it all? Pimento's Burgers Bar and Grill. Pimento's makes football your fantasy with 17 TVs and $2 draft beers during the game, Monday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. And you know I love a great happy hour. At Pimento's, $4 house cocktails, Monday through Friday, 3 to 7. Yes, $4 house cocktails. Try one of their signature drinks like the JJ Spicy Margarita or the Tennessee Sunset. How about a Memphis Mudslide? Or be a kid again with the Adventure River Rum Punch. Hungry? Try a fan favorite, Bacon Pimento Cheeseburger. Or be like me and try them all. The Mushroom Extravaganza, Sweet Heat, and the Dirty, Mean, and Nasty. Need I say more? Well, yes, because there's so much more than just pimento cheese. Sliders, salads, quesadillas, 10 different appetizers. Just don't forget about dessert. 2 great locations, 6450 Poplar Avenue in East Memphis, and in Collierville, 3751 South Houston Levee Road. A bar with it all, Pimento's Burgers Bar and Grill. So much more than pimento cheese.
I'm with John Burgos from the world-famous Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948.
Brett, we have catered parties all over this country and all over the world, from Singapore, Australia to Central Park in New York, but many people don't realize how much we do locally. For holiday events, office parties, tailgating, birthday parties, you can't do better than the Rendezvous. For example, you can get a cheese and sausage tray for 15 to 300 people for $3.75 a person. You can even build your own nacho bar for $10.50 per person. All you need is a minimum of 15 people. In many cases, we can arrange delivery and full-service catering. We've even made it easy to get to-go items. You can just park at our front door in the alley, put on your flashes, and we'll get you going ASAP. For all your catering items and prices, go to hogsfly.com, click on menu, and drop down to catering.
Thank you, John. The Rendezvous, Mr. Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948 and celebrating its 75th year.
Jenkins Floors and More in Hernando is growing, and they've only been around for 5 years. Choose from hundreds of choices of wood, tile, vinyl, and carpet. Timmy, the owner, gets calls from people everywhere and can sometimes save them up to 50% on wood, tile, vinyl, and carpets. Jenkins meets all your needs from renovations to home building to installation. Enjoy buying excellent quality products at awesome prices. They're all about customer service at Jenkins Floors and More in Hernando. Call 662-469-9350.
Get holiday ready at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on Covington Pike during our Black Friday sales event. You ready for a new ride but can't seem to find just what you're looking for? No worries. Stop by, pick your ride, and Gossett will get it ordered just for you. No hassles, no extra charges, no market adjustments. Pay no more than MSRP at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on the Pike. Plus, keep your money in your pocket during the holidays and get no payments for 90 days on select models. And 2022 Renegade Sport 4x4, we Gossett $399 a month or buy it for $29,990. So drive past the rest and come to the best at Gossett on the Pike. Or shop online 24/7, 365 at GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we Gossett at Gossett Motor Cars.
Renegade NPN 79312, MSRP 31980. Must finance through Chrysler Capital. Includes all rebates and incentives. Excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 11/30/22 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss Sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
I love this time of year. We got the basketball-football overlap. Nobody knows that better than Dinstall's Throw-In Thanksgiving, and they got your favorites from chocolate turkeys to turtlettes, cashew crunch to chocolates, footballs, Becky, we got to get some basketballs in there, too. Stop by any of the 5 Dinstall stores and start filling your holidays this season with really sweet memories. Dinstall's, where you can go downtown or you can go to Collierville. You can go to Germantown. You can go my neck of the woods in Laurelwood, or you can go where they make it on Pleasant View. They'll make your day sweet, and they got everything you need for the holidays. They've been doing it for 120 years. Make your holidays sweeter with Dinstall's. To Forest City we venture. Brett Norsworthy joins us now. Good morning, Brett. How are you?
I'm doing well, Dave. On my way through Northwest Arkansas, actually. On my way already to Fayetteville, going up to see old friends and get ready for the big game Saturday night between the Razorbacks and the Rebels.
That is kind of fun for you because you are the broadcast team, part of the broadcast team for Ole Miss. You went to Arkansas, and you know both sides quite well. Got to be just a joy for you this weekend.
It is, Dave. I love this game. I cut my teeth on this game. Hear my parents talk about going to games at Crump Stadium in the 50s and all the different bowl games that Arkansas and Ole Miss even met in those times. And I love this game, and it's really big stakes Saturday night. Arkansas trying to get bowl eligible, Ole Miss trying to get back on the winning track and wanting to close strong. And if Ole Miss finishes with a win, if they finish with a win over Arkansas and Mississippi State in the Egg Bowl, that'd be back-to-back 10-2 regular seasons for Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss, and that is just phenomenal.
Wow. If we go back in history, when's the last time there were back-to-back 10-win years? Did Hugh Freeze ever do that?
In regular season, never.
Yeah.
Last year was the first 10-win regular season ever. Coach Freeze he got to 9-3 with in a regular season, and then won the bowl game, but never in the regular season. You'd have to go back to the heyday of Coach Faulk. Now they did win 10 games with a bowl game in '71 under Billy Kennard, but what Lane Kiffin's done, it's just been great. And Dave, I've made this point all week. If little kid word, but if he does it, and it's a lot to do, it's a lot to accomplish against two mighty fine teams, Arkansas on the road and State, biggest rival in the Egg Bowl. But if he does it, Ole Miss will finish 10-2 this year, and they would be designated SEC 5. You will have Georgia and LSU ahead of them. You'll have Tennessee ahead of them, and you'll have Alabama ahead of them. You can go 10-2 and be SEC 5. That's how good this loop is.
That is crazy. I hadn't thought about that. Wild. I want to get into the college football playoff poll and how I think this might be setting up, but break down what you think happens in Fayetteville. What are some of the keys for both the Rebs and the Hogs?
Line of scrimmage game, Dave. Line of scrimmage, ball in the quarterback's hands with 2 minutes to play. So it's going to be a tick-tock game. Somebody with a minute 40 is going to get the ball and have 70 yards of green grass in front of them, and either have to convert or get a stop. It'll come down to that. It always does in these games. Last year, one of the wildest games I've ever been to in Oxford. Of course, the Hunter Henry Heave play in Oxford in 2015. Ole Miss has only won 2 times in Fayetteville since Arkansas joined the SEC, and the last time was in 2008. It's been a house of horrors for Ole Miss in Fayetteville. Brought some really good teams up here, but unable to beat the Razorbacks. And Saturday night it's going to be the same thing. At kickoff, I think will be the coldest kickoff in Arkansas, in Fayetteville at kickoff ever. And I know will be the coldest temperature, maybe not wind chill, in Ole Miss history. Been a couple of wind chills at AutoZone Liberty Bowls and at Music City Bowls, but actual temperature for a regular season game, I think will be the coldest at kickoff.
Is there any criticism at this point of Pittman? I mean, they're just at 500. They've lost a couple in a row, including one to Liberty. They're now 2-4 in the SEC. He was everybody's darling, and rightfully so, the last couple of years. What's the tenor in Fayetteville like?
That is a great question, Dave. The temperature, the tenor, the tone. I think he's pretty insulated from it, And a lot of coaches could learn from this. It's from his own affability, his own. He makes his own availability as well. He has really kind of done it almost in Arkansas political style, running a front porch campaign, getting to know people's names. They know him as coach or as Sam or as Coach Pitt or Pit Boss. They've gotten to know him, and it's insulated him, and I think other coaches could learn from that. When it's good times, you maybe don't need as many friends and as many boosters and people hanging around you. But then when it gets a little tough, when you lose heartbreakers, you're going to need some friends, and he's accomplished that. I think Hunter Yurachek has accomplished that. There's criticisms of the defensive coordinator that we all like a lot, and there's criticisms of the offensive coordinator. But I think Sam Pittman has mostly been insulated from it. And if he wins these last two, if he beats Ole Miss and wins at Missouri the day after Thanksgiving at Columbia, that's 7-5. They go to a bowl game. They go 8-5. I think everything's pretty restored in Razorback land and should be. Remember what he took over and remember what this roster composition was really like.
Yeah. And I love your point pertaining to coaches and affability and availability, because invariably, unless you're really Nick Saban, I can't think of many. Look what's happened to Jimbo Fisher. I'm sure there's some whispers around Clemson these days with Dabo. Invariably, there's going to be tough times. Every coach goes through it. So you better be aligned. You're right. You better be aligned in the correct way. All right, go ahead.
And Dave, and not just with the upper crust booster. You got to do it with the people that sit in the end zone. You got to do it with the people that tailgate religiously, that are with you in good and bad times. And I really think more coaches need to build up that goodwill.
So the college football playoff poll, number 3, came out last night. And not that I'm a conspiracy theorist, but I see the way this thing is lining up. So, Brett, tell me, am I crazy when I say it's Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, and TCU? And by the way, TCU deserves it. They've got 5 top 25 wins. They went on the road as underdogs in Texas, in Austin, and beat them. So they deserve it. But here's Tennessee and LSU, 5 and 6, and USC is 7. And I don't think the Pac-12 is getting in. But it sure seems to me to be lining up that if TCU falters, and they could, but if TCU falters, this is going to be 2 from the SEC and 2 from the Big Ten.
I don't think there's any doubt about that, and that's what I had preseason. I'm going to miss on my teams. I had Georgia and Bama preseason from the SEC. I'm going to miss on that. I'm going to get one right and miss the other one. Bama's out. There's no scenario they get back in.
No, they're done.
And the two from the Big Ten, Ohio State and Michigan. And Dave, I think Corum is making a late great push for the Heisman Trophy. We kind of live in a world where we forget about running backs.
Right.
We really forget about them unless they're at Alabama. And I think he is that good. And it feels like it now. What I think Tennessee fans should root for, they should root for Ohio State to annihilate Michigan. I mean, go out and put it on them 31-3, 35-10, something like that. That probably clears the deck for Tennessee and gets Michigan off the scene. And then it sets up, Dave, of not 2, but 3 from the SEC if LSU pulled the big upset, and they're going to be decided underdog. They will be a double-digit underdog against Georgia in the SEC championship game.
I could not imagine the 3 SEC, 1 Big Ten, and nobody else in. Well, if that happens, it'd be the greatest thing for expansion of the playoffs. There's no doubt in my mind. I think 2 and 2 is a great argument for the expansion of the playoffs.
I do as well, Dave, and we're for it. We got to get the Rose Bowl and the Big Ten and the Pac-12 to quit obstructing this. Largely the Rose Bowl game. It is a classic game. We all love it. We love that stadium. We love that setting. We love that sunset. But it's got to come off. Really, it's belligerence. It has held up the college football playoff forever. It's holding up the expansion now.
Last thing, who ends up replacing Brian Harsin? Every week there's a new referendum on it. I don't know if Hugh Freeze certainly seemed to be in a great position when he beat Arkansas, but then he turns around and loses to UConn and Jim Mora, which, by the way, UConn's now bowl eligible. That's a pretty interesting story for Mora. Who do you think in the end is going to end up with this job? And we all know Lane Kiffin has been brought up, and somebody wrote a great article about Lane. You're so close. Do not leave Ole Miss. Where do you think this ends up?
Yeah, I think that was Trey Wallace that outkicked it, wrote that column, that feature story, and I think he knows him from Tennessee Pass. But I'll be shocked if you can dislodge another coach from in your league. I know it's been done. I know it's been done with Auburn doing it to Ole Miss with Tommy Tuberville. But the financial picture at Ole Miss is much different now than it was in the fall of 1998, 24 years ago. And I just think it's really hard to kind of bomb your coach out. In the end, I'm not going to throw a name out, but in the end, I think it'll be that surprise. That's who Auburn hired. I don't think it will be that blockbuster. And we've seen that before. I mean, when Florida hired Will Muschamp, you kind of thought, when a couple of Tennessee hires, it's always a little less than that initial flame in the heat emanating from it when the opening happens. When the opening happens, everybody thinks you're going to get Urban Meyer or some big name, and then you kind of end up settling.
Well, they've done that before, too. I don't think Gene Chizik was a household name, was he?
Gene Chizik wasn't, and Brian Harsin sure wasn't.
No.
And back to replace Coach Dye, Terry Bowden wasn't.
Well, Terry Bowden had a last name with cachet, that's for sure.
That's true.
That's true. And he had done wasn't he at Tulane? And they had that nice run, if I remember right.
No, that was his brother Tommy.
That was his Tommy Bowden. Now, okay. Anyway, be safe. I guess you're moving the Family Leisure Studios to Fayetteville for the next few days, and I will.
I'm moving it to the Crescent Hotel in Eureka Springs tonight and tomorrow, and then from the Team Hotel in Rogers on Friday.
Sounds beautiful. Enjoy. Can't wait to hear you on Saturday. That game, by the way, will begin with the pregame at 4:30. The Rebs and the Hogs, and I'll be on with you next Tuesday. Be safe, buddy.
You got it, Dave. Happy holiday season. Thank you.
You got it. That's our man, Brett Norsworthy. He's brought to you by the good folks at AmeriCare. Who's AmeriCare? That's the place with the plan for those that you love that get a little older and you're worried about them living alone. This is the place where they have memory care, they have assisted living, and it's like home. That's their key. They love talking about wellness. That's part of their philosophy. That's why they've gone from one institution in 1981 in Sikeston to 133 now, and 3 in the Memphis area. South Breeze, that's on Hacks Cross Road in Memphis. In Collierville, it's Schilling Gardens. And in Olive Branch, it's Olive Grove Terrace right there on Goodman Road. So they believe that the place you go to help you age healthy and happy is to make it feel like home. That's what they do with AmeriCare. They got programs designed to help whatever might ail you. Like if you are one of those that have a risk for falling, and we know the older folks, broken hips are not good, they actually have programs designed to help you reduce that risk. They want you to be healthy and strong, and they want you to do what you love to do. And so they design programs to make sure you're happy. It's an intimate community. It's smaller than most, easier to make friends, and all those great activities. That is what AmeriCare is all about. It's aging and wellness and health and happiness. So check out South Breeze, Schilling Gardens, and Olive Grove Terrace, and remember the name. It's AmeriCare. And this portion of our show also brought to you by the good folks at Conway. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, and right now, they're here to help you beat what is going to be a rise in prices for HVAC. Government regulations are changing things. So, to help you beat that, before the prices go up, they're giving you a deal you can't refuse, like a free furnace. If you buy a new HVAC system, a cooling system from the good folks at Conway, 384-3511 to check it out. Get that new system. They throw in a heater, a furnace, and they will throw in a free Nest thermostat. So become more efficient, get lower energy bills, beat what's going to be a raise in prices because of new federal regulations, and get yourself this deal from Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric. We'll take a quick break. Jarvo from Action News 5 is right around the corner.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. Fiveash Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
I got to tell you, man, I was worried.
Worried about what?
Since I'm the Central Barbecue spokesperson.
We're really the spokespeople.
As a Central Barbecue spokesperson, I was letting people down because the Central Barbecue location on Central is closed for renovation. There are only 3 locations for people to get Central Barbecue.
I think people can get by with 3 locations.
No one cares what you think. Like I said, I was worried, but the people at Central Barbecue have solved the problem.
That didn't exist.
They've parked the Central Barbecue food truck at the Central Barbecue Central Avenue location. Everything is right with the world.
Everything was already fine.
I'll be the one that makes that decision.
Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company, we have it all. From handmade Amish leather belts, fine and casual clothing, boots, casual boots, work boots, fancy boots, and even safety-toed boots. Lots of cowboy hats to choose from, even Nebo lights, Orco hard coolers, good-looking duck head dress shirts, duck head caps, shorts, and pants. Tons of jeans from Ariat, Wrangler, Devil Dog, and Kimes Ranch jeans. At Hewlett & Dunn, we have a great selection of Old South t-shirts and caps. Fine clothing from dress to casual to Sunday best. Enjoy choosing from UFO's orthopedic-approved shoes. Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company. Boots of every size, every color, every skin. Great quality Western, work, and safety toe boots. Hewlett & Dunn Boots and Clothing Company. 111 North Center Street, Collierville. Hewlett & Dunn. Hewlett & Dunn, serving you and your family since 1961.
Hi, this is Lauren Choate with Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing. Choate's is offering some amazing specials for this month only. If you're considering upgrading your furnace before the cold weather comes, Choate's is offering $1,000 off a new Carrier furnace. If you don't need a new furnace, Choate's is now offering its early bird $60 furnace tune-up. This 22-point tune-up includes a free carbon monoxide test and heat exchanger inspection. And Choate's is your indoor air quality expert. For the best quality air for you and your family, it's recommended to have your air ducts cleaned every 8 years. This month only, Choate's will install a free UV light system when you get your air ducts cleaned, a $500 value. Call us at 347-8086 to take advantage of these amazing deals. So, turn to the experts with Choate's, and remember, let our family serve your family.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Yesterday, Jarvis Greer was the master of ceremonies at the big celebration of the USFL coming back to Memphis. Jarvo, give me your thoughts on what all this means.
Well, it means spring football's back in Memphis. That's for one thing. You know, the games we had games on NBC and Channel 5 last season or last spring rather, And we watched them, let me check this out. And they were actually, it was actually decent entertainment. So their fee structure the price structure from what I've been told is that it'll be very affordable, $10 to $15 a game. So, if it's like that, but it's basically a TV league right now because they're doing this pod system.
Right.
Memphis and the Houston Gamblers will be, the partner with Memphis here and to play at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. Then there's Birmingham and another team in Birmingham, and then there's a couple more pods there's 8 teams in the league. There's a couple more pods in the Northeast, and that's to cut down on travel costs. And they're trying to get it off the ground and see what their TV numbers do. And the numbers were, they weren't bad.
No.
For what they were expecting. They're actually, over what they projected. It's not great now, but it's still more than what they projected.
Well,
so
I really
they're
think,
back for year 2.
I think it competed with Major League Baseball's numbers.
Yeah,
and with
favorably.
and with the NBA regular season when they were up against them. So that's why they are so gung ho. I don't think they care if they sell a ticket. I'm glad it's going to be 10 to 15. Do we know how many games each team's going to play?
No, and I think the season runs through. If you count the playoffs and the title game, I think it'll run through either the end of June or the beginning of July, somewhere in there. It starts April 16th. That's a Sunday, I believe. And, it'll basically run through the spring and the first part of summer. So, you got to figure that's probably about how many weeks is that? 14 weeks, 12 to 14 weeks, something like that. So, like I said, the big brass, like Fox is the main, Fox Sports is the main partner. They got, umpty-ump million, 100 million, 300 million, I think, invested in this deal. And NBC is a TV partner, broadcast partner. So, the games are over the air. You just turn on your TV and there it'll be. You don't have to have cable, satellite subscription or anything like that. So, and then there's more jobs for the, people that play football.
Like Brady White.
Playing.
Like Brady
White.
Yeah.
Yep. He is on the roster for this team, and he's going to, finish out his assistant coaching gig with the Tiger football team. And then he'll be, chance to have compete for a job when they go to training camp here after the Super Bowl.
And if you take a look at the resume of the head coach, Todd Haley, he's been a head football coach in the NFL for a couple of years.
With Kansas City.
And he's
offensive
been
coordinator, 3 teams.
Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty deep resume. Actually, if you look at it, it's as deep as Pepper Rogers was 40 years ago.
Yeah, and Pepper was fun. I mean, Todd Haley looks like he's kind of cut sort of out of that cloth. A real laid back kind of guy, a tell it like it is kind of guy. And he said he's got a picture, a trading card of Reggie White when he was a showboat. He just got to now go back and find it somewhere in his closet. But I think that they have good football people involved with this, and it won't be a gimmicky thing. The rules are pretty straightforward. To fall in line with the NFL and so, it's going to be straight up football and, people enjoy seeing people get hit, and it'll be at a time when, it's something else to do.
I'm looking forward to seeing people get hit this Saturday at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. The Tigers hope to become bowl eligible for the 9th straight year. They'll be the huge favorites. There's actually no line on this game, by the way. When the A-Suns North Alabama, which used to be a power in Division II, and has made the move to Division I and has struggled. They've only won 1 game this year. They changed their coach. They have a pretty good offense. Most of their losses have been by 1 score, and they got a running back that's had 1,500 yards.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
But
he's good at any level.
But the Tigers should win this game, and if so, we're bowling again. Maybe the Independence Bowl on the 23rd of December. They've been checking Memphis out a bunch. They've been to a couple of games for sure. What do you think will occur at 1 o'clock on Saturday?
Well, I do know this. They're going to retire the jersey of Danton Bartow, which I think is very, 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 very much needed. It's overdue. He's I think he's a leading tackler by far in Memphis history. And when he got to the ball carrier, he got there with malice of vengeance. He was not like, okay, put you down and help you back up. No, he went there to put the hurt on people. And he was very, very active as a with the Tigers, and then he went on, to coach, and he was a scout. And I think he coached the old that last indoor football league team.
Memphis Pharaohs.
No, the Explorers, I think, is what they were when they played down in Landerson.
You're right. That was down
coached them to the league championship.
In DeSoto County.
So,
Landerson.
Yeah. So, but this is for his career at Memphis. So it'll be good to see. I think they already put up it on the wall, on the north side of the stadium, put his number up there, and it'll be on the field. And I think that's a great thing. As far as the game itself is concerned, this will be a chance for Memphis to stretch its legs. Hopefully it'll be able to stretch its rushing legs and get ready for, regardless of whatever happens, you expect it to have a W. And you get out there and you get a chance to, get the ball to a lot of people. Hopefully you get your backup quarterback in and let him play some. And, the kid is really,
Ryan
really
Glover.
smart.
Right.
Yeah. And,
well, you could. I mean, if you jumped out to a big enough lead, I would love to see Ryan Glover because he deserves some snaps. Wouldn't you also like to see, because of the rule with red shirts, you can play 4 games? Wouldn't you love to see Tevin Carter get out there and get a few snaps?
Yeah, I think that would be great if Memphis can get out to a big enough lead on this team. Now they played everybody close, but I think the Tigers are ready to explode on somebody. I'll put it that way, and this would be a chance to do it coming up this Saturday.
There you go, Jarvis Greer. Thank you much. We appreciate it. Good job yesterday,
Thank
emceeing
you,
that thing, and I will see you tomorrow at our coaches' meetings.
Oh yeah, we'll be ready to go. Have another one. It's the final regular season. It's the final game of the year at home for the Memphis Tigers, and fans, if you haven't seen them, get out there and go see some football because you will be entertained. They do have some good players on this team, and it is senior day, and you want to send Quindell Johnson out, with a good taste in his mouth because he will be playing in the big league next year this time.
No doubt about it. Thank you, Jarvo. We appreciate it.
Okay.
That's our man, Jarvis Greer, talking about the Tigers and about this new USFL team. He's brought to you by the good folks from Grind City and that wonderful Pilsner, Poppy's Pills. That's the Pilsner that's light and crisp. It's refreshing. Kids like to say it's ultra crushable or built for speed. I know it's made right here in Memphis at that wonderful facility right on the river downtown. If you haven't been there, that's a cool building. Go inside, take a little tour. Outside, they got these picnic grounds and a beautiful green expanse, a view of the bridge. It's really a nice place. Cool is the best way I can put it. Just like I like my Pilsner, like I like Poppy's Pills, what the doctor ordered. Best enjoyed ice cold. You can get it in 6-packs or 15 packs. It's sold all over town. So get with it. Get to Grind City. Get the Pilsner everybody's talking about. Poppy's Pills. That'll do it for us. Johnny Radio is right around the corner. Have a great day, everybody.
I often say they've